Hello, 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 my good people. Do apologize. I am a few minutes late today. I normally try not to do that. It's the one thing I try to be on time for all the time. And it didn't happen today. Ended up having to go pick my brother up. Stop something. Ended up having to go pick my brother up, and it was unexpected. It was the last minute. I'm like, man, I got to get back to get to my people. So I do apologize if any of y'all have been waiting or you tuned in at 7 and didn't see me here and you're like, oh, you want to start doing it tonight. I do apologize. So give me a second to get myself situated and we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks, babe. I didn't even have my hot water H2O, so how far behind I was. All right, to get myself in order. Now again, I do apologize if anybody was waiting for me. So I just give a minute for others maybe tune back in or go back to the channel or whatnot. But I'll probably just go ahead and get started here in a second once I get my spot. Right there. Yeah. Here. All right. I think I am where I need to be at finally. Again, I apologize to anybody that was waiting. I was a couple of minutes behind. Had to go pick my brother up unexpectedly. Normally, like I said, normally my daughter is something she do, and he called and she was out and about. My wife was not feeling too good, so I had to go do it right in the middle of getting my stuff together, y'all. So hopefully it don't mess up the flow of the vibe, and I still be able to bring this word to you. I'm gonna let the need the Spirit to just work on me and get me back where I need to be, so I can bring y'all this word tonight. And it's important because I'm going ahead and finish up this lesson tonight. We're doing let me go and go to again. So good afternoon, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Brother John Stewart on behalf of Lost Sheep Ministries, sponsored by River Lake Baptist Church. Here to bring y'all a message tonight. Again, I apologize. I was a few minutes behind. I know I put 7. I try to be on time for the show just because I know I have some faithful ones that's here at 7. So if anybody was waiting, I do apologize. But just had the last minute errand to run right before it was time to do the message. So I apologize for that. But again, here to bring out a lesson tonight. Hopefully to close out the series that we've been doing for quite some time. Actually, it's been since what's today? Yeah. Been since the beginning of the year. We started this series. Now, of course, we did step away a couple of times. Stepped away, and I did my testimony. I stepped away and did. I had a little span where I did my testimony. I went over the gospel, and then I delivered a message. I did that for about 3 weeks. I delivered a message that I had delivered in the church. So I did step away. So it ain't all been a whole 4 months to get this done. But for the most part, I did. And of course, y'all know. Last few weeks we've been doing the lesson, turning trash into treasure. I think that was about 7-8 week long process. So it ain't been the whole time, but this is lesson number, I believe, 11 tonight. And it should be the final lesson. I got the 3 points. I got one big major one. And then I got like 2 little small minor points that I've talked about before. So I'm not going to like harp on them, so to speak. I'm not going to put a whole lot of time in them. Not going to rush them, but I'm not going to put a whole lot of time in them, so to speak. But we should be able to get it finished up tonight. That's my goal, to get it finished up tonight. And we're going to go on, roll on into chapter 15, which is a whole different subject. It's dealing with more about obedience. I'm not sure exactly which angle I'm approach it from, but it's definitely going to be dealing with obedience. Which angle I'm going to deal with the importance of obedience or showing the disobedience. I can't, like I said, until I sit down and let the Spirit work through me and give me the wisdom to put the lesson together. I can't say exactly which way I'm going to go with it, but it's definitely going to be on obedience. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the quick review of what we did last week, and then I'm going to jump into this lesson tonight. Because like I said, my time is already ticking against me. I feel like Samuel Jackson, tick, tick, tick. You know, I ain't going to say the other part that he said, but tick tock. I think that's what he said in Hitman's Bodyguard. So again, appreciate y'all for joining me tonight. I'm going to try to finish up the series of how you got to have of the action items that you should take, things you should do so you can have enough faith to get the victory over the things that comes up in your lives. You know, as you serve the Lord, we're all going to run into problems. We're going to have things that's going to happen. It ain't going to be all sunshine and rainbows. But if you have enough faith, if you do these action items that we've been covering for the last few weeks, since the beginning of the year, if you do these action items, do these things, take them into heart, and do these things, then you will have the faith you need to get the victory over these little things, circumstances that come up in your life from time to time. So if you want to watch, I did a full review kind of last Monday night when I did the lesson last Monday night of the first 7 points, I believe. And then last week I shared with you number 9 and number 10 was point number 9, number 10. So I'm just going to kind of briefly go over 9 and 10 tonight, and then I'm going ahead and jump into tonight's lesson. So we got 11, 12, and 13, the last 3. Like I said, I want to get it finished tonight, and I don't want to have to rush. So last week, the lesson we shared last week, again, if this is your first time watching this, first time watching the video, first time seeing one in the series, this is the end of the series. So of course, if you want to watch back and watch some of the other videos, or even when I'm going through this little review here, you like, this sounds interesting, I want to go back and hear that, just scroll back down my Facebook page. It's posted on there. I never delete my videos. Facebook might delete them, but I don't. Or you can go look on my YouTube page, and they're always on there as well. They're stored on there as well. If you get caught up in the middle of the series, you want to go back and see the previous lessons, that's the best way to do it. The YouTube is honestly the best way because everything is in chronological order. So with that being said, last week we covered point number 9 and number 10 in the lesson. Point number 9 was the first one I covered, and that point was number 9. We saw over here where they were getting ready to do something, and they went to the God. Yeah, they were getting ready to. Saul heard the commotion in the camp from where Jonathan and his armor bearer was over there attacking the garrison of the Philistines, and they was getting ready to go like rush over there. But before they got ready to rush, they wanted him to get they want the priest to get the ephod. So they can, because that's what they use to predict, what God wanted them to do. So they told the priest to go grab it, but then the commotion got so, so hectic that they were like, you know what, never mind, we're just gonna go ahead over there. So, with that point, we saw that, we talked about that a little bit, last week. And with that point, it gave us point number 9, which is seek God's wisdom for all your actions. And I just talked about how important it is as we making decisions, in this life, as we making decisions in this world, how important it is to make sure that God is an influence in those decisions, and make sure that we're going to God. We're doing our due diligence and going to God to give us wisdom on these decisions that we have to make. And I talked about how I have a decision to make pretty soon. Hopefully sometime this week I get to make the decision. I know some of y'all might be interested in it or heard me, and I'm pursuing a new career, a new job. And still I got a couple of options. One of them, I get to stay home and stay exactly where I'm at doing what I'm doing. And the other one is I might have to move far away. So still haven't made that decision just yet. Been praying on it, praying for some things to line up so God can show me where I need to be. But I'm doing what I talked about in point number 9, making sure I'm seeking his wisdom in these decisions and these actions that I'm about to take. So that's what we talked about last week. Make sure you seek God's wisdom for all your actions, good, bad, or ugly. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you want to be in God's will, because that's the key to success. That's where you want to be. You want to be exactly where God wants you at. And the only way you're going to be able to be where God wants you at is by being his will. And the only way you're going to be in his will if you ask him to reveal his will to you. And that's something I pray on constantly, not only for myself, but for everybody in my ministry, everybody I've ever shared the gospel with, everybody I've ever worked to lead to the Lord. That's something I pray, some of y'all that I've shared the gospel with, I write your name down to put in my Bible. And that's what I do when I'm praying for those people in my Bible. I'm praying for the Lord to get them wisdom in their decisions and get them the wisdom to make a decision to put their full faith and trust in him. So that was number 9, what we talked about last week. Again, that was the lesson last week. Number 9 was seek God's wisdom for all your actions. And of course, I went into it and gave you all kind of examples of things where I sought God's wisdom and gave you the reassurance that you should do so as well. We also had a couple of references last week as well. We had a reference back to point number 1, which was be willing to stand alone. We had a reference back to point number 8, where I said you have to remember that the battle is the Lord's. Everything you're going through, especially if you're trying to do God's work, it's the Lord's battle. So that was reference number 8. And then number 10 from last week, the point number 10 was only follow those that will feed you. And, and I talked about not saying just, go to the church because the church got the best food and best bar and all that, food bar and coffee bar and all that stuff. That's not all I was saying. But I said, make sure you're following people that's teaching you something. It was actually interesting. And this happened this week. I was talking to a lady. I was out soul winning in Paris and some small projects in Paris. And I was talking to a lady and she was talking about she don't really go to church. And she said it's hard for her to go to church because she only feels, like going to church if she's been, basically what I was saying last week, if she's being fed. She said she hate when she go to the church and, just sit there and she don't really learn anything or come under conviction about anything. And she says, I've been to a couple of good churches, she said, but I've also been some, here lately with most of the churches I go to, it's just nothing there. I don't feel the spirit there. I don't feel led to be there. I'm not really learning anything while I'm there. So she talked about that. She's talking about that, and I was like, I was thinking that's funny because I just did a lesson on that. Go where you're being fed. And when I say being fed, I'm not talking about physical food. I'm talking about spiritual food. Make sure that you go somewhere where you're learning. You know what I'm saying? When you listen to preaching, when somebody's supposed to be bringing the word of God, you should be learning something. You should be coming under conviction about something. There's something that lesson or that's preaching or something, it should make you do. It should make you feel a type of way, or it should teach you something and open your eyes to something. And then I say, even with me, you know what I'm saying? Don't just sit here and look at me because I got a pretty face and a nice shiny bald head. I hope y'all are in here watching these videos, spending your time in here with me because you're getting something from it. That's my whole intention, is not just to get popular or just to, go viral. My intention is to teach people what they need to know so they can have a close relationship with the Lord, come under conviction about their relationship with the Lord. So that's what I talked about. Make sure that you're following somebody that's going to feed you. And we saw where Saul's men, and that's kind of the situation. We're going to go back through it a little bit tonight because I didn't get to the second point last week, and it both came from the same set of verses. But we saw where Saul's men, Saul made this stupid oath and said that nobody could eat anything or the whole time until basically the war was over. So the guys were following him and they was faint and they was starving. And I fast twice a week. And I'm gonna tell you, man, and I only do a 24-hour fast. And in the days, and some days I end up fasting while I'm working out, while I'm fasting. And I'm telling you, bro, oh man, you be drained. Like you be sleepy in the middle of the day. You be drained. You don't have the energy to do anything. So I can only imagine what these guys are going through because they were feeling like that and they was in the middle of a battle. So, and of course, once they was able to eat, once the battle was over, they was able to eat, they started eating the food without even cooking it with the blood in it. And of course, that's against the violation, that's against the commands of God. So that's one thing, Israelites not supposed to eat food that still had the blood. That's one of the commands that he gave Moses when he was giving out the laws and things of that nature. So because he didn't feed them, they were sinning. And I kind of related to that. If you follow somebody that's not feeding you, it's going to make you, that's why you get the backsliders a lot of time. People that go to church all the time, but then they'll end up falling away from the faith because they never was really getting fed. So that's kind of the point I made last week, is make sure you're following somebody that's feed you, following somebody that's going to hold you accountable for your actions, following somebody that's going to teach you the things you need to know so you can have a close relationship with the Lord, so you won't be one of those ones that fall away. And again, that's why you see people fall away all the time, because a lot of time they're in situations, they're following people where they're not being fed. So, so again, that was point number 10 last week. Make sure you're following people, following someone that is feeding you. So, with that being said, that's a review. And like I said, with me being a little bit late, I'm a little discombobulated, but I'm going to go ahead and pray so we can jump into the lesson tonight because I do want to get this finished up. Dear Lord and Heavenly Father, thank you so much for watching over us tonight. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here. Once again, to get in your word, Lord. We thank you so much for always watching over us. Thank you so much for always blessing us. Thank you for letting us make it through this day. Some of us had to go out and work, and we was able to go to work and make it back home safely. And some people got to be at the house all day. But either way it go, You made it possible for us to be here today, be here in this moment, so we can spend this time in your word to honor and glorify you. So, Lord, now we ask you to send your spirit down upon us so we can get into this word tonight and bring out this truth, Lord, and finish up this. I believe it's been a wonderful series. You know, I don't know how everybody else believe or how everybody else feel about it, but I believe it's been a wonderful series, and I really believe that if everybody has followed this whole series, you know, they've taken these action items into their heart and they came on a conviction about it, that they will be able to live a good life. They will have the faith that they need to get the victory, Lord. And I pray that as we close out this series tonight, you send your spirit down upon me to get my heart and mind in the right place. I know me having to run that errand kind of threw me off. Got me out of my groove that I'm normally in right before my lesson, but it's all good, Lord. I know you can take care of that. So I hope you send your spirit down upon me to get my heart and mind in the right place. But more importantly, I pray you send your spirit down upon the hearts of all those that's watching this video, whether they're watching it live or they're going to watch it later on, Lord. I pray you send your spirit down upon their hearts as they listen to these words so they may glean the wisdom from it. Come under conviction about those things that they have in their life that's keeping them from getting that victory, Lord, and giving them the discipline they need and the discernment they need to make the right decisions so they may get to where they need to be so they can get the victory in their life. We just thank you so much for all you've done and given. Thank you for this moment, and pray you let your spirit guide this session once again this evening. We love you and thank you for all you've done and given, and say this prayer in your wonderful Son, Jesus' name. Amen. What's going on, Chris? I see you here, man. I can't see. I don't know if my phone just ain't working. I don't see no bubbles. I can't tell anybody here or not, but I see Chris, you just popped up, so I can't see anybody bubble. So if I'm not saying hello, it's not going to be mean tonight, y'all. I don't see anybody. Sometimes it does that. Sometimes it show everybody. Sometimes it don't show anybody. But I just go on like it's a million people here, even though I know it's like going to be like 2 or 3. But it's all good. Sorry about the annoying cup, y'all. But I can't get rid of it because my baby girl gave it to me, so I just have to deal with it. It's so embarrassing, though. I be in the room for the people, and everybody be looking like, what the heck is that noise? It's my cup. It's my cup, all right? So, again, we're going to get into this lesson. We're going to try to finish up this section over here in 1 Samuel chapter 15. We've been on this for quite some time. We've just been looking at Jonathan, the things that he's done, the faith that he has that allow him to get the victory. And we've seen the little victories he's been getting all throughout since we've been doing this. And we're going to get to see his final victory. He's going to get a major victory here at the end. And it's all because he kept the faith. It's all because he had enough faith to get the victory over these things that had popped up in his life. And we saw his action items, and that's what I've been doing. I've just been putting out these action items that I've seen him do, the way he thought, the things that he did that got him to the point where he was able to have that faith to get that victory as well. So that's what I've been sharing with you all. So again, if you got your Bibles, we're in 1 Samuel chapter 14. I'm sorry, I didn't tell y'all the verses of chapter 14, verses 24. And I'm starting at 24. Now I know if you watched the lesson last week, I read these verses, but y'all remember I told you 2 points came out of that verse, verses 24 through 35. I only got to one of them, so I'm gonna read it again so I can get back to the second one and kind of refresh on where we was last week and show the victory. Give you the point number 11, which both of these points came out of these same cluster of verses. So again, if you follow along with me, I'm in 1 Samuel chapter 14, I'm gonna read verse 24 through 35. That's gonna give us our first point for the night. And again, if I always like to announce, I read the King James Bible. the New Living Translation. I am a King James believer. If anyone knows that it's King James only, and you follow along, you like my Bible ain't saying what his Bible's saying. That's the reason why. Because I'm reading out the New Living Translation. I like to do it for a ministry to try to help people understand what's being said without me having to explain it. Because y'all already know I like to talk a lot. And if I have to explain everything I'm saying, then it's just going to take the video that much longer. And I don't want to do that to you because I want to keep your attention while I got it. So with that being said, I'm going to start over here in 1 Samuel chapter 14, verse 24. And again, I'm going to read 24 through 35 so we can get to the second point that came out of that cluster of verses there. So in verse 24, the Lord tells us this. It says, so now the man of Israel were worn out that day because Saul had made them take an oath, saying, let a curse fall on anyone who eats before evening, before I have full revenge on my enemies. So no one ate a thing all day, even though they found the honeycomb on the ground in the forest. They didn't even touch the honeycomb because they all feared the oath they had taken. But Jonathan had not heard his father's command, and he dipped a stick into a piece of honeycomb and ate the honey. After he had eaten it, he felt much better. But one of the men saw him and said, your father made the army take a strict oath that anyone who eats food today will be cursed. That is why everyone is weary and faint. Now my father has made trouble for us all, Jonathan exclaimed. A command like that only hurts us. See how much better I feel now that I have eaten this little bit of honey. If the men had been allowed to eat freely from the food they found among our enemies, think how many more we could have killed. But hungry as they were, they chased and killed the Philistines all day from Michmash to Ajalon, growing more and more faint. That evening they flew upon the battle plunder and butchered the sheep, cattle, and calves, but they ate them without draining the blood. So again, that was the violation right there. Someone reported to Saul, look, the men are sinning against the Lord by eating meat that still has blood in it. That is very wrong, Saul said. Find a large stone and roll it over here. Then go out among the troops and tell them, bring the cattle and sheep here to kill them and drain the blood. Do not sin against the Lord by eating meat with the blood still in it. So that night, all the troops brought their animals and slaughtered them there. And Saul built an altar to the Lord, the first one he had ever built. So again, that gave us point number 10. Make sure you only follow those. Make sure you only follow those that'll feed you. I think that's how I said it. Make sure you only follow those that'll feed you. And again, we see here in that instant, because Saul wasn't feeding them or allowing them to eat, or he himself wasn't feeding them, they end up sinning because they started eating the food with eating the meat with the blood still in it, which is again against the commands of God. So that was number 10. So number 11 is going to come from the very last line right there in verse 34, where he said, and Saul built an altar to the Lord, the first one he had ever built. So point number 11, action item number 11. If you want to make sure you make sure you have a closer relationship with the Lord, and you want to be able to develop the faith to get the victory over the things that come up in your life, something you're going to have to do. It's going to be point number 11. You're going to have you an altar. You have to have your altar. What am I talking about? I'm not talking about some kind of shrine or a place where you worship your idols. You know what I'm saying? Like some of y'all like to do. I'm not talking about a room decorated to LeBron James or some stuff like that. I know the playoffs going on now. I know LeBron is still I don't watch sports as much anymore. But I'm not talking about that. You know, I've been to people's houses and they have whole rooms decorated and dedicated to their teams. I'm not talking about that. That's more of a shrine. There's more of idol worship than anything. You know what I'm saying? They got they favorite celebrity all over their walls. And I know I did it when I was a teenager, when I was young and a teenager. You know what I'm saying? Had my favorite rappers on the wall or whatever. Or actually with me, it was more of my favorite ladies on the wall. You know what I'm saying? But either way it go, we had something on the wall that we worship, and we had them on the wall because we were worshiping those people or they was idols to us or whatnot. You know, they even got a show called American Idol where people can go in and vote for their favorite god, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? But that's not what I'm talking about when I say having an altar. I'm not talking about having a shrine or something like that. And some people, it's family members. You know what I'm saying? I know in my wife's culture, because my wife is Mexican, they set up I think it's called an ofrenda. And it's when people, the people they love, the close loved ones, pass away, they set up a little thing and put kind of like favorite things up there and put a picture of them and that kind of thing. And it's something that's tied into the Day of the Dead. So I'm not talking about stuff like that. I'm talking about an altar. So when I say an altar, when I say have your altar, and again, I'm not talking about the wooden bench like at the church. You got to go steal one of the wooden bench from the front of the churches, or the cushion bench from the front of the church. That's not what I'm talking about when I say having an altar. When I say you need to have your altar, I'm talking about having you a place where you can go regularly and meet with God. When I say having an altar, that's what I'm talking about. And there was a movie came out a few years back. It's called A War Room, and it's kind of the same thing. When I say altar, I'm talking more about if that maybe give you a better reference of what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a war room. But either way it go, it's a place that you go where you meet with God. This is you and God's spot to meet. You know what I'm saying? It don't necessarily have to even be like a building, or, you know what I'm saying? Like for instance, this room right here where y'all at, or we're preaching now, this is mine. This y'all are in my altar, so to speak. This is my altar. This is the place when I'm reading my Bible, this is where I come to read my Bible. You know what I'm saying? This is my altar. This is where I spend my time reading my Bible. Or this is where I spend my time putting the lessons together. When I put this time, when I sit down and I break this Bible out and I start thinking about what lesson I'm gonna bring to the people tonight, this is where I come to. So this is my altar. This is where, you know what I'm saying, when somebody calls me up or message me and say they need some kind of guidance or wisdom on some kind of biblical situation. This is where I come and I do my sit down and I do my research. I actually had that happen this weekend about one of the kings of Israel. You know what I'm saying? This is where I come and do my research and get that wisdom and let the Spirit work through me so I can get that wisdom to guide them on whatever that biblical subject is that they're having problems with. You know what I'm saying? When I do my counseling, whenever there's a couple of y'all that reached out to me for some kind of spiritual counseling, this is where I come to. I come here to my altar and I, you know what I'm saying, close the door and I get here and I, you know what I'm saying, so I'm focused just on talking to you and giving you the wisdom that the Lord has for me. When I do my praying, this is where I do my praying at. You know, y'all know once a week, but I've told y'all before, if y'all watching videos, once a week, I do fasting. Now, I pray every day, don't get me wrong, but once a week I do a fasting prayer, and I fast down 24 hours, and then at the end of the day, I get on my knees and I pray for like 2-3 hours, depending on, you know, what all got going on. You know what I'm saying? This is the place that I do this at. So this is my altar. This is my place dedicated to meeting the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it don't have to be an actual bench from the church, you know what I'm saying, or some kind of a stone giddy up like you hear them talk about a lot of times in the Bible when they build altars. You hear them talking about building an altar from stone. No, it's just got to be a place, you know what I'm saying, somewhere that you go and you get away from everything. You know what I'm saying? You can get away from everything. You get away from everybody. You cut your phone off. A lot of time when I'm in here, I put my phone on silent. Like right now, my phone is on silent. A lot of time when I'm putting my lesson together, I put my phone on silent, especially when I'm trying to figure when I'm getting, and a lot of time I have to put my phone on silent when I read my Bible because I usually read my Bible at the end of the night. Nobody ain't calling me anyway. But if I do have to do it during the end of the day, I put it on silent. Why? Because I just want to be alone with the Lord. You know, so I want to be alone with the Lord. How you doing, Miss Alicia? Like I said, I can't tell who's all in there, so I can't say hello when people are coming in or not. For some reason, I'm displaying my little profile bubbles at the top like I used to do. So I'm just assuming people are there. If not, I'm just gonna keep on going. But I see you popped up and say hello. So how you doing, Miss Alicia as well? But like I said, that's what an altar is. An altar. You know, like we hear altar, we think of like the stone, like I said, the stone giddy-ups they have in the Bible where they sacrifice the animals on, or, you know, the benches at the front of the church that you go to when the preacher get an invitation at the end of service. And yes, those are altars, but you got to have your own personal altar. You know, everybody can have their own personal altar. And like I said, it's just somewhere to go to get away from everybody. It don't have to be nothing fancy like mine. And I don't know if y'all watched the video long enough, you know, mine is actually a laundry room. I'm actually in the laundry room. So luckily, because the house we had before, I had my own room. I had my office, which I call my office, which is my altars, so to speak. And I had my own room. But the house we moved into was a lot smaller, but it was the only one we could find because we were looking to rent because it was the only one we could find. So it was a lot smaller. So, but it had a huge laundry room. So if y'all could see, if I was to take my camera and show you half of you see my files and my boxes and my books and stuff. And then the other half you see just dirty socks and underwear everywhere. So I'm in the laundry room. So again, it ain't have to be nothing special, but this is, even though it's the laundry room, this is my altar. This is my place where I get away from the family, where I get away from the TV, when I get away from the world. And when I close that door, that's it. I'm cutting everything outside that door. I'm not worried about nothing outside that door. The only thing I'm worried about is what's inside inside this little room, this little concrete room that I'm in. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to spend time with God. And that's what an altar is for. It's the place that's dedicated for you to go and spend time with God. That's why at the end of the church services, when the preacher close out the church services and he have the altar call, he's calling people up there, maybe because he's hoping that he, at some point during the sermon, he says something that touched your heart, and now you need to go get along with God and go, you know what I'm saying, say that thing to God, say that whatever it is you need to say to God. That's why he calls people up there, and that's what an altar is. It's just somewhere, like my family know, like when I'm in here and my door's closed, then they know that I'm spending time with God. So even if they might still come harass me if it's something important, but they'll knock first. They won't just bust in here. They see I'm in here and the light is on. Oh, Dad is in there. The light is on. The door closed. He must be they know I'm either reading my Bible or I'm praying, or I'm preaching, or I'm putting a lesson together. Something, I'm doing something where I don't want to be disturbed. You know what I'm saying? But if the door is open, then they know, even though I'm in here and I'm working, when I do my finances and stuff, I do that because this is my office. So I do everything, and this is my own little personal space in the house. So, you know what I'm saying? So if the door is open and I'm in here, they know, oh, it's okay to approach and, you know what I'm saying, and bug him because he ain't doing nothing important. But they know if I'm in here and that door closed, then leave me alone because I'm here at my altar. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I say, have you an altar. And that's what Saul did. He said, when, you know what I'm saying, when he saw the day his guys were sinning and they were doing stuff against what the Lord had commanded them to do, he built an altar. You see what I'm saying? He built them an altar. He built them a place where they can meet with the Lord. And see, that's what your altar is. So you got to have your altar in your life. There should be somewhere. It can be, like I said, mine is the laundry room. I have another altar, which is the cab of my truck. Cause like on my way, first thing I do, once I leave out the house heading to work, I got like a 25-minute drive on the way to work. I pray the entire time there. So that's your altar. That can be your altar. You know, there's been days where I'm stuck somewhere. I'm in like I remember before we got a wash and dry, we had you know what I'm saying, we had to go to the laundromat. Or, you know, the days when I was, sitting outside, I maybe had a doctor's appointment or something, and I'm sitting in the doctor's office, and the doctor said, hey, you're gonna be a couple hours before we get to you. You know, I go to my truck and I read my Bible. You know what I'm saying? So that's my altar. So again, an altar can be anywhere, but what it is, it's a place. When I say have your altar, again, I'm not telling you to go get some stones, 12 stones, and no tools have been put upon and set them up in your house. No, I'm saying when I say you have an altar in your life, have you a place where you meet with God. You know what I'm saying? A place where God knows where to find you. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you know, it's like back in the day. And when I say like a place where God can find you, it's like back in the day before cell phones, you know, before they had Life 360. You remember back in the day, if you wanted to go somewhere, you know what I'm saying, as a kid, you tell your parents like, hey, I'm going to go to, you know what I'm saying, such and such's house. And what was your parents, if you had good parents, that is, what would they always say? You know, and mine with my grandmother, make sure you at such and such house. Whoever house you said that you was going to be at, that's where you need to be at. You know what I'm saying? If I come looking for you, you better be at such and such house. You know what I'm saying? So they said this so they know where you at. So if some kind of emergency did happen, they don't have to come looking for you. That's why they're saying that. You know what I'm saying? They not saying that to restrict you from keeping you from having fun. They saying it so if something, like I said, this is before, again, if y'all don't hear me, this is before cell phone. Now, it don't matter. You can take your cell phone with you everywhere you go. But back in the day, you couldn't do that. You had the phone at the house, and that didn't go nowhere. You know, if you was lucky enough to have a cordless phone, you might be able to go in the backyard or go to the porch, but you weren't gonna go too far. You weren't gonna get too far from that receiver. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. When I talk about having an altar, have you a place where God knows where you're gonna be, so He don't have to come looking for it. And again, I know God. God don't have to come looking for it. He know where you at all times. Don't get me wrong, but wouldn't it be nice to have such a close walk with God that you know what I'm saying, that if somebody tried, he can bet where you was gonna be at because he knew you was at your altar at certain times. You had these certain times that you was at your altar. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't it be nice that you was so routine in your walk with God that God don't have to check to see where you're going to be at because He already know you're going to be at. You know, and not because He's omnipotent, because He knows your routine. He knows that, you know what I'm saying, at this particular point in time, He's going to be here at this altar doing this thing because that's His routine. And that's what I'm saying. When you have an altar, you have that routine. You know, it's just like on Sunday mornings. Every Sunday morning, about 11:50, God will know exactly where to find me. Unless something crazy goes on, something crazy happens, God knows exactly where to find me Sunday morning, 11:50. And you know what that's at? At the altar in my church. Because that's usually our church service, depending on the sermon. Sometimes he goes a little longer, sometimes he goes a little shorter. But usually around 11:50, 11:55 is when he have our altar call, the altar call. And every Sunday, now that's the actual altar, but every Sunday morning I go to the altar. Because I've always got something that I'm asking God for. I'm always got something that I'm praising Him for. I always got something that I need His attention. You know what I'm saying? And I know he's looking at the altar for prayer, and he says, wherever there are two or more gathered in my name, I'm there in the midst. And Sunday morning is the busiest time of all churches, because, everybody go to church Sunday morning. Now, Sunday night and Wednesday night ain't as good. It ain't, the crowd ain't as big, but the most people that you're going to have is there Sunday morning. So he said if 2 or 3 is gathered and we got 50, 60, then he's definitely there in the midst. You know what I'm saying? And one place I know he's going to be looking to look at the altar, see if the Lord, the pastor touch anybody's heart, and they calling out to him. So that's why every Sunday morning I make it a point to go down to the altar every single Sunday morning. Like I said, the only way I don't make it down there is if something happened, I did end up in church, and every once in a while I get pulled over to children's church. If the guy that's teaching children's church is out, I substitute for him. But unless I'm not in there, if I'm in there in church and service Sunday morning, I'm going to be down at the altar. So God knows exactly where to find me every Sunday morning because I have that routine. And that's what I'm saying. That, now again, yes, God knows exactly where I'm at all times because he knows everything. But I'm just saying he just have a certain point like, well, John, we ain't got to go check. I already know exactly where he at. It's 11:50 Sunday morning. He's down there at the altar. You know what I'm saying? Because having an altar, you know what I'm saying, is so significant. You know what I'm saying? It's so significant. Like even when I'm so routine with it that even when my kids or my wife are looking for me at the house, the first thing they say, oh, he's probably in the office. Like, you know what I'm saying? If the kids come in and sometimes they see my truck out front, they see my truck out front, but I might not be, because I don't sit in the living room a lot. So sometimes I hear them, they come in like, where dad at? You know what I'm saying? And without even thinking, my wife said, oh, probably over in his office. Because this is where I spend a lot of my time at, because I spend a lot of my time in the Word. Not just bragging, but I do. So I have to spend a lot of time putting doing the studying. If I'm going to counsel people, I have to be on the Word myself. So I spend a lot of time in God's Word, and plus for my personal gain. I spend time in God's Word, studying God's Word, so I can learn the things that I learned, so I can teach them to y'all. But I do spend a lot of time in here. So whenever the kids look at me, it's two places. If I'm at the house, and my wife and kids looking for me, is 2 places they're going to check. They're going to check either my office or the bathroom. Because that's I'm going to be in one of those 2 places. I'm either be on the toilet or I'm going to be here in his office. That's mostly the only time. The only time I go anywhere else is, of course, at night when I'm sleeping, I'm in my bed. And when I have dinner, I go up, sit up front with the family. But if I'm not having dinner, I don't usually sit up front and watch TV. And like if I'm on vacation, maybe, but that's rare. You know what I'm saying? But 9 times out of 10, if I'm in my house, I'm either, like I said, in the bathroom. If you're looking for me and I'm up and I'm not sleeping, I'm in the bathroom, I'm in my office. I'm here at my altar. And that's what I'm saying. It's so routine that my kids know that. They know that to check before. And they might say, what dad at? And like I said, my wife, she, without even looking at, he's either in the bathroom, in the office. But 9 times out of 10, they're going to say the office first, because that's where I spend the majority of my time when I'm here, because I want to get somewhere so I can be alone with God. You know what I'm saying? It's something, like I said, if the door is closed, that's why they ask, because the door is closed. They know, well, okay, the door is closed. We ain't going to bother him. We'll just catch him when he come out, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Or they might send me a text like, hey, Dad, we got a minute and you talk to you. But they know not to disturb me because I'm here at my altar. And that's why I say having an altar is significant, because if you don't have a place where you meet, a place set up where you're going to meet God on a regular basis, 9 times out of 10, honestly, I'd probably say 10 times 10. I can't say 9. You know what I'm saying? There's always an exception to the rule. But if you don't have 9 times out of 10, if you don't have a place set up that you meet with God on a regular basis, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have time set up though you meet God on a regular basis. They both go hand in hand. If you have such a relation with God or such a close walk with God, where you have regular time set up to meet with him, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a place that you're going to meet with him as well, because you're serious about it. You're serious about your walk with God. You're serious about your relationship with God. And therefore, you have set time and you have set place to meet. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? How many times you got to think about it. I've been doing this for quite some time. A lot of y'all have been watching my videos for at least a year or so. Miss Alicia, I know you have. But how many times I said it? Consistency is the key in your relationship with God. And having an altar helps you have that consistency. Having an altar helps you have that consistency. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the key. That's being consistent. I remember this one time when I first started trying to lose weight, back in like 5 years. I can't believe 5, 6 years ago now. But about 5, 6 years ago, right before, so I'm 44. So I was about 37 and a half when I made this. I was like, man, I really want to lose weight. Like, I've been huge my whole life. I've been fat my whole life. And I want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to stay big, but I did want to at least get toned up, and I remember saying like, I want to get toned up. I'm going to lose some weight. And I remember I was watching all kind of videos on what kind of workouts to do. And there's this guy named Big Brandon. He came across his video, and I can't say what he said because he was cursing, but he's like, man, I get so tired of people saying they want to lose weight, but they never want to do the work. You know what I'm saying? He said, I be talking to a dude and I asked them, like, how many days do you work out? And they tell me some stupid, like 1 or 2 or 3 days. I said, it can't be 2 or 3 days. He said, it's either need to be either 2 or 3. You know, and that's what he said. He said 2 or 3. You know what I'm saying? He said, stop being a B word. He said, when you say you really want to lose weight, you really want to be serious about it, you got to be consistent. He said, you make up your mind, either you're going to work out 2 days a week or you're going to work out 3 days a week. But whatever you decide, that's what you need to go with. You see what I'm saying? And that's what he was talking about. He said being consistent, but that was for physical gain. So you got to take that and apply that to spiritual gain as well. You have to be consistent in your relationship with God. That's how you get the grace in your life. That's how you get God's favor on your life, so to speak. That's how you get God's mercy. You know what I'm saying? Consistently asking him for, Lord, I pray for forgiveness of my sins every day. You know what I'm saying? Some days I just go straight to work, go to work and go straight back home. You know what I'm saying? But I still pray for forgiveness of my sin. I pray for this mercy for me to be able to get to work and get back home. His grace for me to get to work and get back home. You have to be consistent in your relationship with God. And see, if you got an altar that shows you're consistent, because you got a set up place to go meet with him. And if you have a set up place to go meet with him, 9 times 10, you're going to have a set time to go meet with him as well. And it's going to keep you consistent. You know, I've told y'all I have the 3 things I do every day consistently. Read my Bible every day. Pray every day, and look for opportunity to tell people about God every single day. So if I'm going to do that every single day, I'm going to have a place where I can do those things. And that's what your altar is for. It gives you that stone. It gives you that point to make sure that you be consistent in your relationship. You know what I'm saying? That altar does that. And that's why it's so important to be to have that altar so you can be consistent in your relationship. Like I said, Big Brandon, he's taught me how to be consistent in my work, and it worked. I ended up losing, I did that. And for 5-6 years straight, up until I started working 2 jobs back in September, up until then, for the last 5-6 years, I worked out 3 days a week, every single week. No matter what was going on, I worked out 3 days a week. It was rare for me to miss a day of workout. You know what I'm saying? And I get to see the results from it because I stayed consistent with it. And matter of fact, since I ended up losing one of my jobs, so the last month and a half, I lost one of my jobs back in March the 12th. So since then, and when I had 2 jobs, I can only work out once a week. But I did work out once every week. It was still consistent, but it wasn't as good. I was starting to feel a little flat again. But since I lost that job, I got back to my 3 days a week. And just since March 12th, I can tell my tones have come back. I've gotten back a little bit more solid than I was beforehand because I gotten back to consistently working out the way I was. You see what I'm saying? So consistency is the key, and that's what an altar does. It kind of forces you, so to speak, to be consistent in your relationship with the Lord. Because again, it gives you have a set place and a set time where you go to meet him. You see what I'm saying? That's why it's so important. And the crazy part, the ironic part about it is that, when I was putting this together, I was thinking about 2 of probably the most faithful men in the Bible. They were so faithful and they were so consistent in their relationship with God. They were so consistent in going to their altar that it was actually used against them to persecute them. And of course, if you know your Bible, you know who I'm talking about Jesus. You know what I'm saying? How did Judas know where Jesus was going to be? Judas knew exactly what Jesus was going to be when he went to betray him, because Jesus was in the place he always went to go pray. He was at his altar, which is, ironic. Because if you read it, it said that Judas knew where he was because he often took them there to pray with him. So you got to be careful who you let into your altar as well. I'm letting all you jokers in here. I hope y'all don't try to betray me. Like, it's 7 o'clock. He's on it. We know where he's at. Let's go get him. You know what I'm saying? But that's exactly what Judas did. Judas knew exactly what Jesus was going to be because he knew where Jesus' altar was. He knew Jesus' routine. He knew how consistent Jesus was in praying. So when it was time for him to betray Jesus, he knew exactly where to find him at because he was doing what he always done. He was there at his altar. Same thing happened to Daniel. If we look at what happened to Daniel, you remember, and Daniel come up again, and I know y'all probably like tired of me bringing up Daniel in this series, but it's hard to talk about faith and not talk about Daniel because his faith just amazes me. His faith, Paul's faith, Noah's faith, a lot of Moses' faith, a lot of these guys' faith is just amazing. But Daniel, he's one of my favorite ones because man, he really literally went through some stuff to display his faith, and one of them was his altar. You know what I'm saying? Because you remember they was trying to. He was a Israelite slave basically, but because of his faith to God, God bumped him up in the kingdom of Babylon. You know, he ended up being like one of the top advisors, and of course he had a position higher than actual Babylonians. So of course they was going to hate on him, and they did. They hated on him, and they tried to find a fault with him. And it was like, I don't want to get ahead of myself because this is going to come up again later with one of my other points. But they tried to find a fault with him, but they couldn't. They couldn't blame him for anything because he was so faithful in everything he did. And what they decided, and the only way we're going to be able to get him is in his religion. You know what I'm saying? The only way we're going to be able to trick him up is in his religion. Why? Because they knew he had an altar. They knew that every single day he went and prayed to that altar. So what they do? They went and tricked the king into signing a treaty saying that you can't pray to nobody but the king. You know what I'm saying? And what was the first thing? And when the treaty was when the law was signed, what was the first thing David did? Went to his altar. He went straight to his altar. And guess what? The people that set him up, they knew exactly what to find. Because if you look at it, it said they was looking through his windows. You know what I'm saying? So they knew he was so consistent with his relation with God. He was so consistent at going to his altar that they knew exactly where he was going to be at. So as soon as the king signed the treaty, they knew about what time it was. Oh, I know where he's at. He's at his altar. And they went and they looked. And guess what? They said, "Oh king, did you not say that if you know what I'm saying, if somebody pray other than you, then they gonna get thrown in lines?" Then like, yeah, I said it. Well, that Daniel, he's there at his altar. Now they ain't say that word specifically, but that's basically what they're saying. Oh, he's there at his altar, and I'm pretty sure he ain't praying to you. You know, I'm pretty sure he ain't praying to you, Lord. You know, and what happened? Then we know the story. The king came, threw him in the lines, then nothing happened, kind of thing. But I just thought that was funny that because I'm talking about being consistent, I'm talking about having an altar. And both of these men were faithful, consistent in their prayer life, and it was used against them. But what happened with both of them, though? They both got the victory. Daniel got thrown in their lions then, and the lion didn't touch him because he did what he was supposed to do. He went to his altar. Now, Jesus ended up dying, but that was his whole purpose. His whole purpose was to come here and shed his blood so our sins can be forgiven. You see what I'm saying? His whole purpose was to shed his blood so our sins be forgiven. So even though he died, he still got the victory because what happened? What did it say about Jesus' death? With his death, he got victory over death. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say, oh death, where's thy sting? You know what I'm saying? It could no longer sting him. He got victory. Man, to show he got victory over death, he came back after he was dead and showed himself to his disciples. So yeah, they went through some stuff. They got put in bad situations because they had their altar and they went to their altar and they were consistently going to their altar, but they got the victory because they went to their altar. You see what I'm saying? So they got the victory because they went to their altar. So, you know what I'm saying? And if you look throughout, because of the time they spent at their altar, that's why they got the victory. So again, if you look throughout our history, especially through the Old Testament, when you look at all of the great men of the Bible, so to speak, some of the great men in the Old Testament, some of these guys that I was talking about earlier, like I mentioned earlier, they all built altars to the Lord. Once the Lord revealed himself to them, they built altars to commemorate that. You know what I'm saying? And if you're watching this video right now and you save, then guess what? The Lord has revealed himself to you. So since the Lord has revealed himself to you, that means you should have an altar in your life, a place where you go and meet with him. You know what I'm saying? We saw when Noah was the first one to do it. You know what I'm saying? Noah was the first one to build an altar. You know what I'm saying? That's something I didn't know until I started doing a little bit of research for this lesson tonight. Because I knew he did an altar, but I didn't know he was the first one. But when I started doing my little research for this lesson tonight, I realized that Noah was the first one to build the altar. And when did he do it? He did it right after the flood. Matter of fact, the first thing he did when he got off the boat or got off the ark was built him an altar. You know what I'm saying? He built him an altar. Why? Because the Lord revealed himself to him. The Lord revealed himself to him and, you know what I'm saying, kept him safe through the storm, kept him, his family, the other 7 people on there with him, all the animals, kept them all safe through all those storms, through all that winter, that rain and everything that went on, and protecting them just like he said he would. So the first thing he did when he got off the altar, he built the altar to praise the Lord at. You see what I'm saying? Abraham, the first time the Lord revealed himself to Abraham that was in Genesis 8:20. Abraham over in Genesis chapter 12, verse 7. The first time the Lord revealed himself to Abraham. What did Abraham do? The spot where the Lord revealed himself at, he built him an altar. And again, if you've been saved and the Lord has revealed himself to you, you should have an altar. Isaac over in Genesis 26:25. After God showed up to him and made him a promise of, the seed and the covenant promise and all that. What did Isaac do? He built the altar to commemorate it. A little bit later on, Jacob came along. That was Isaac's son. He said he built the altar. You remember Jacob had to flee from his brother because Jacob was dirty and he stole his brother's birthright. So he had to leave the land and he had to leave his home and go to another place so his brother wouldn't kill him. But when he was on his way out, he stopped in Bethel, what is now known as Bethel, and he slept there for the night. And y'all know he had this weird dream where he saw angels, like a ladder that was coming down out of heaven, and he saw angels ascending up and down that ladder. And when he woke up, he's like, man, I was in the house of God. And when he was asleep, he had like a pillar that was a rock for a pillow, and it's a pillow, and it said he set that up as a pillar. And then he told God, he said, all right, well, he basically gave God the child, like, well, if you really are with me and I'm really going to do these things, then I tell you what, if you bring me back safely to my home again, then when I get back, I'm going to worship you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be with you. And because, if you look at Jacob wasn't all in at first. God had to do some things. Matter of fact, if you remember on his way back, there was a situation where he wrestled with God. When he was on his way back, he had literally and figuratively and spiritually wrestled with God. You know what I'm saying? So when he came back, God kept his promises. When he got back, so when he left, he was in Genesis 28:18 through 22 is where he made it. He had the pillar, and then when he got back, it was in Genesis 35 verses 2 through 7 where he actually took that same spot he was at and he made an altar there because God had revealed himself to him. Moses, when the Lord revealed himself to Moses over in Moses built an altar. When the Lord had promised them protection over in Exodus 17:15, the Lord told them, hey, y'all gonna go in the land and y'all gonna be protected and y'all gonna do everything. And what did Moses do? He built them an altar. That was a situation when David was in a bad situation. He had took a census. I actually just read this chapter a couple of nights ago. He had took a census he wasn't supposed to take. And because of that, the Lord sent this plague on the nation of Israel. People started dying. And David ended up seeing the angel of the Lord was getting ready to destroy Jerusalem. And David somehow, God opened his eyes or whatever, however it happened. I don't really explain the detail. But he saw the angel of the Lord standing there with a sword out. So what he do? He went to this guy and he bought this land, or where the angel of the Lord was at, bought this land from this guy and built an altar there. He built that altar to get the plague to stop because the plague was destroying the people. That was over in 1 Chronicles chapter 21 verses 18 through 30. He built an altar there. So you got to understand how important altars is. And it ain't just for one thing. We think of altar, we think of prayer. Sometimes people think of prayer. Sometimes people think of sacrifice. But altar has many facets it can be used. It can be used just a lot, like I said, a lot of these guys, they built to commemorate the fact that they met the Lord, the spot that they met the Lord at. The Lord showed up to them there, so they built an altar there. It is built for prayer. Some people went to the altar to pray. I go, like I said, I pray at my altar. Some people built it for praise. Like, oh Lord, man, you just did this great thing. I'm gonna build you an altar and praise you. We saw that happen several times throughout the book, the Bible. And then some built it for peace. Some built, God delivers them peace. This thing happened, this situation take care of, God delivers out of it. I'm setting up an altar to praise the Lord. So altar is mostly multifunctional, but the whole key of all of it, no matter what the altar is being built for, the whole point of the altar is to get closer to God. That's the point of the altar, is to show God a certain amount of reverence. Lord, I reverence you. I understand you. I appreciate you. I thank you for what you've done. I'm setting this altar up here to praise you, to show you that I appreciate you and I thank you for what you've done. So that's the point of it. You know what I'm saying? So now that the Lord has revealed himself to you, like I said, if you're watching this video and you're saved, then the Lord has revealed himself to you. So that means you should have an altar in your life. And that's what Saul did. The Lord had revealed himself to him, told him he's going to be king, made him king. He's been obedient thus far. We're going to get in the next chapter to see he's going to end up being disobedient. But he's been obedient thus far, and the Lord is giving him his victory. And that's why he set up that altar. Then one, because he was trying to keep them from sinning because they were doing stuff they weren't supposed to be doing. But also he wanted to praise the Lord, and they say it was the first one he had ever built. Why? Because the first time he really realized, hey, the Lord is really with us. My son and his armor bearer went off and fought a whole garrison by themselves. And we ended up, being a 600 armor 600 going against thousands. only 2 swords in the whole army. Everybody else had sticks and clubs and spears, and we was able to get this major victory. God showed up in a mighty way. So when God showed up, he recognized that God had showed up. What did he do to commemorate that? What did he do to show God his thankfulness, his appreciation? He built an altar. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what he did. He built the altar. So again, once the Lord reveals himself to you in your life, and he should have. If you watching it, now if you ain't saved, then I can understand. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you reach out to me and we can see about you get saved. But if you are saved, you had a day where you heard the gospel, you understood the gospel, and you accepted Jesus Christ your Savior, then that was the Lord. Whoever shared that gospel with you was the Lord showing up to you. So therefore, you should have an altar in your life. Because a person with an altar in their life will also be the same person that would have the faith they need to get the victory. So point number 11 tonight, like I said, this is going to be one of the main points for tonight, because it's so important that we have that. It's so important that you establish that in your life, you establish that in your home. Because if you build one in your life, you build one in your home, and your kids come behind you, they're going to follow suit. They're going to have one. Because we see, again, I went through Noah, and then, you know what I'm saying, and of course, who's a descendant of Noah? Abraham was one descendant from Noah. Then Isaac, which is Abraham's son. Isaac had him an altar. And then Jacob had him an altar, which was Isaac's son. So you see, they learn. You know, so just like you can, if you make the wrong decision or bad decisions, you can bring the generational curses in your life. If you make the good decisions, you can bring those generational blessings in your life. And because the way Abraham lived, his son Isaac saw the way he lived and how he built the altar, so he built the altar. And then Jacob saw how his dad lived, he built the altar. And it kept going and going and going. You see what I'm saying? So having an altar in your life, like I said, a person that have an altar in their life would also be the same person that'll have enough faith to get the victory. So point number 11, make sure you have an altar in your life. Have a place that you go on a regular basis and you meet with God. So that's number 11. So next verse, that was the end of verse 35. So verse 36 tells us this. Back to the word. It says, so then Saul said, let's chase the Philistines all night and destroy every last one of them. And his men replied, we'll do whatever you think is best. And that's a reference back to number 7, where I told you when I did point number 7, if you didn't watch it, go back and watch it. Point number 7 is let your actions lead others to victory. If you, first time you watching this series and you want to I bet that was interesting, go back and watch the videos. It's on my YouTube page or scroll up and down my Facebook page. But that's a reference back to point number 7, which is a lesson I did a few weeks ago. And then the next line, it said, but the priest said, let's ask God first. And that's a reference back to number 9. Now, that is the lesson I did last week. And, of course, it was to seek God's wisdom for all your actions. That was point number 9. That was the lesson I did last week. Again, if you want to see the sermon on that, go back and watch that on my last page. So then in verse 38, it says, the priest said, priest said, let us ask God first. And then verse 37 says, so Saul asked God, should we go after the Philistines? Will you help us defeat them? But God made no reply that day. Ooh, so something going on. God didn't make no reply. He's at his altar and God ain't making no reply. What's going on? So it said, then Saul said to the leaders, something's wrong. I want all my army commanders to come here. We must find out what sin was committed today. I vow by the name of the Lord who rescued Israel that the sinner will surely die, even if it's my own son, Jonathan. And that's foolish. And we're going to see why that's foolish. We're going to get to that. He said, but no one would tell him what the trouble was, because it actually was his son, Jonathan. In verse 4, it said, then Saul said, Jonathan and I will stand over here, and all of you will stand over there. And all the people agreed. Then Saul prayed, O Lord God of Israel, please show us who is guilty and who is innocent. Are Jonathan and I guilty, or is the sin among the others? And the Jonathan and Saul were chosen as the guilty ones, and the people were declared innocent. So right there's going to be a reference back to number 9, because again, he did go to God, seeking God's wisdom for the situation, but there's also going to be point number 12. So point number 12, and like I said, I got 2 more points, and they're little small points, and not as long as the first one, but they are very important points. So point number 12, the 12th thing you can do, the 12th action that you can have in your life, if you do this thing, it'll help you have the faith to get the victory. Point number 12 is this: live to be blameless and not just innocent. So we know what they said there. It says Jonathan and Saul were chosen as the guilty ones, and the people were declared innocent. So again, live to be blamed. Number 12, the 12th thing you can do that'll bring victory into your life so you can have enough faith to get the victory is live to be blameless and not just innocent. What am I talking about? What's the difference between blameless and innocent? Innocent is you didn't do it. And of course, in this situation, we know the guys, they didn't eat because it said over here, it says, as hungry as they were, they chased and killed the Philistines all day from Michmash to Ajalon, growing more and more faint. Hold on, no, that ain't what it was. He said, blah, 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 the command, think about it. Hold on, where is it at? I know it said over here. It says, oh yeah, he said, so no one ate nothing. He said over here, it says, let a curse fall on anyone who eats before. This is Saul making an oath. He said, let a curse fall on anyone who eats before evening, before I have my full revenge on my enemies. So no one ate anything all day, even though they found honeycomb on the ground in the forest. They didn't even touch the honey because they feared the oath that they had made. So because of that statement, we know they were innocent. You know what I'm saying? But they technically weren't blameless because they were around food. It was a possibility some of them could eat the food. And that's actually what Jonathan ended up doing. He ate the food because he didn't know the oath. So innocent is you didn't do it. You're innocent. You know what I'm saying? Which is good to be innocent. You know, you didn't do this stuff. But blameless is when you put yourself in a situation where you can't even be blamed of doing it. And that's what you want to do. You want to be blameless because you have any, and y'all seen it happen. Y'all seen it happen. You have any spot, any blemish on your record or on your name or on your character, anything, the devil will try to use that to destroy you, especially if you're really doing God's work, especially if you're doing a good work and you're bringing people to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Any little spot of blemish, the devil will try to use that against you. And that's why it's best to put yourself in a position to be blameless. Now, that don't mean being perfect, just mean blameless. Keep yourself out of certain situations. There are so many relationships, especially, and I know all of y'all can attest to this, especially since Facebook has come about. There are so many, and so, well, not just Facebook. Facebook was a big one, but you know what I'm saying? Not just Facebook, though, all social media, and just since the advancement of technology, there's so many relationships that have been ruined. Even though the person in this relationship might have been innocent, they might not have cheated or whatever, it's been ruined because even though they was innocent, they wasn't blameless. You see what I'm saying? They might not have had sex with that girl or that dude, you know what I'm saying? But they had all kind of girls and dudes in their inbox. What's up? You know what I'm saying? They wasn't blocking it. They wasn't denying it. You see what I'm saying? So they might have been innocent. They might not have hooked up with that person. They might not even show interest in that person. Or they might have just had a little harmless conversation with that person. So they might eat, but they never actually hooked up with that person. So they might have been innocent, but they weren't blameless. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, they got these guys or, the girls, depending on what you like, in their inboxes. So, you know what I'm saying? So they if they may go through and see all these conversations, all these people in the inbox, then what they're going to assume that you must be doing something, even though you're innocent. See, if you was blameless, like if you go in my inbox, there's something in there, and it's funny because I get a lot of fake profiles, a lot of people, and it's always some like fine girl send me this, hey, how you doing? I'm like, nigga, please, you know what I'm saying, whatever. So you know what I'm saying, but I talk to them like, hey, how you doing, blah blah blah, and then we all get to the point when they try to like act so serious. I'm like, do you know Lord Jesus Christ is your Savior? You know what I'm saying? So you go to my inbox, there are, you know what I'm saying, several ones in there, but if you read through them, you'll see that I always take the conversation to God, always. Or, you know what I'm saying, sometimes they'll send me they're acting like, send a pic. And I send them a picture and it'll be a picture of me and my wife. You know what I'm saying? Let them know that it ain't nothing going here. It ain't nothing going here. You know what I'm saying? So my wife scroll through there, you can see I'm blaming. They try to come at me and I shut them off immediately. I either, show them a picture of my wife, show them I'm married, or I tell them I'm happily married, or, you know what I'm saying, whatever. But if you constantly going with that conversation and your wife go through your phone and you got 3-4 days of you having a conversation with this person, then guess what? Even though you might not have did none, you ain't blameless. You see what I'm saying? If you blameless, you're going to cut it off immediately. And if I've had some where the women got like a little too rowdy, so to speak, a little too aggressive, and I had to block them. And you can see where I blocked them. You know what I'm saying? They done stuff or said some stuff, and I was like, oh, no, block you. You're not getting me in trouble. Because, again, I'm trying to be blameless. I don't want none to go in there that say that I egged her on or I was warranting it or I wanted that. No. You saw I shut her down immediately, and she kept going, so I blocked her because I want to be blameless. You know what I'm saying? So, again, you know what I'm saying? If you got people in your inbox, you're not blameless. You might be innocent. You might not have done nothing, but you're not blameless. You know what I'm saying? If you got folks sending you nudes, you know what I'm saying? Even though you might not have hooked up with that person, you're not blameless. You know what I'm saying? If you got a history of cheating, that's going to keep you from being blameless because you've done it before. You got a history there, you know what I'm saying, of cheating. Then your girl or your guy, they're going to always look at you with that side eye, especially if they start seeing something in your inbox because you've done it before. You know what I'm saying? So again, want to live, if that person, hey, how you doing? Cut them off immediately. I mean, you want to be blamed, just block them. And the only reason why, like I said, only reason why I go with the conversation, because I try to get them, I want to see if they're going to talk to me about God. Because I told y'all, if you talk to me, we're going to talk about God. We're going to talk about God. So I'll let you play your little game. Hey, how you doing? They always ask stupid stuff like, where you from? So that's how I know it's fake profile. Like me, you can just look at my profile. It says from Memphis. So everything they ask, you can get straight off my profile or my Facebook page. So I know it's fake. So I answer their little question. I tell them stupid stuff. And then eventually about 3 or 4 questions, I ask them. I start like, well, let me ask you something. You know what I'm saying? Do you know Jesus Christ your Savior? And you know what? That conversation usually end right about there. You see what I'm saying? Because it keeps me blameless. And see, that's what I'm saying. You can be innocent. You know what I'm saying? You can be innocent and not be blameless. But the best thing to do, if you're blameless, then you won't even be in a position. Nobody can accuse you. Because again, I've seen relationships that's been destroyed by people that were completely innocent. They never really did nothing with the person or intend on doing nothing, but they wasn't blameless and it got them in trouble. You know what I'm saying? We see situations with celebrities. You know what I'm saying? With the mics, I'll call them the mics. You know what I'm saying? All 3 of the great mics then got in trouble because of accusations. And to this day, I don't know if they was innocent or they was guilty, but they wasn't blameless. You know what I'm saying? What I'm talking about, Mike Tyson. Remember the Mike Tyson rape situation? You know what I'm saying? To this day, now Mike, he's done his interview. He's like, man, girl came up there. It was consensual. And girl did her part. She said, man, no, he forced me. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got their own opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because there was a weird situation. She go up 2 o'clock in the morning and he perform oral sex. It's a weird situation. Everybody got everybody got their opinion. But you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, whether Mike raped her or not, he went to jail for raping her, and whether he raped her or not, even if he was innocent, it was consensual and she just set him up. The thing was, he wasn't blameless because she was in this room at 2 o'clock and they was having some kind of sexual relation. So regardless of was it forced or consensual, he still wasn't blameless, and that's why he ended up getting in trouble. Kind of ruined his career. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much ruined his career, made him a bad guy from there on out. He kind of recovered from it, but he never got back to where he was before that. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jackson with the molestation thing. You know what I'm saying? To this day, nobody, like with Mike, nobody knows whether he was actually innocent or not. You know, that's between him and that girl, Michael Jackson. We don't know. We know he settled. We know he settled. That don't necessarily mean guilty. It could have just mean he tried to save his name. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not, again, with both of these guys, I'm not advocating for neither one of them. But the point is, they was even if they were innocent, they wasn't blameless, and that's why they ended up in this situation, because they put them in a situation where they could be accused. Mike Tyson put himself in a situation where he could be accused of being raped. Michael Jackson put himself in a situation where he could be accused of molesting children because he was always around children. He was always, you know what I'm saying, having sleepovers, and he hung with children more than he hung with adults. So of course somebody gonna try to take advantage of the situation and say, oh man, this guy must be doing something. He's a freak. You know what I'm saying? And we don't know. Nobody knows. Yes, he settled, but that don't necessarily mean he's guilty. He actually did it or not. You know, with big celebrity, you get so big, a lot of times they'll settle just to keep their name from being drugged through the mud. You know what I'm saying? Even though with public opinion is still going to, you know what I'm saying, people still going to have their opinion about it. Some people still believe that he's an absolute pedophile. Some people think he was just a guy with a child, you know what I'm saying, childlike heart because he didn't have a childhood and he just want to hang out and be a child. You know what I'm saying? But either way it goes, he was able to be accused. He had to settle because he wasn't blameless. You know what I'm saying? We look at Michael Jordan's father's death. I watched that 30. No, it wasn't 30 for 30. It was the last dance, I believe it was. I watched that documentary, and I've actually seen stuff about this before. A lot of people speculate that Michael Jordan's dad was killed because of Michael Jordan's gambling problem. And again, I don't think that because him and his dad was close. I don't think he came there then, plus the money that he had. I mean, I can't see him being in such a deep debt that he can pay it. But again, I don't know. But it's been speculated that, you know what I'm saying, the reason why his dad was killed is because of his gambling problem. Now, again, Michael Jordan might be innocent in that. It might just been some random thing. But again, he's not blameless because he did have a gambling problem. So you see what I'm saying? You know, and that's why the Bible gives us the rules it gives us. That's why it gives us the commands it gives us. That's why it's telling us to do this and don't do that. Because if you can live by these commands, and again, nobody can be perfect, but if you can model your life around these commands, man, if the Bible can be the foundation of your life, it'll give you the tools you need. It'll give you the discipline you need to live a blameless life. And you won't have to worry about being put in these situations. If you follow these commands, you know what I'm saying, you can live a blameless life because you won't even put yourself in a compromising position. You want to put yourself in a position to where you can be blamed for anything. And that's something I learned when I started this ministry. When I first started this ministry, and I'm so glad that my pastor, he gave me some wisdom, and I think I might have shared this with y'all before, but he gave me some wisdom on it. So when I started the Lost Sheep Ministry, not the one on the internet before COVID hit, I didn't do this on the internet. I did this in live, and I still do the live one as well. But the first time I got somebody that wasn't in the town was a lady in Dixon. And she started riding. I had to go pick up to ride the bus because that's one thing I offer in my ministry. If you need a ride, I come pick you up. So I would go and pick her up. And I was telling the pastor, I'm like, man, I got one. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? I was excited about it. So I got one. He's like, well, who is? I said, it's this lady down in Dixon, blah, blah, blah. He said, well, John, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. He said, if you going to pick this lady up to bring her to church, he said, I know your intentions are good. I know you have nothing but good intentions. He said, but what you need to do, make sure you always have somebody else with you. Make sure you always have an adult with you, somebody that can testify. So if she make any kind of claim, you know what I'm saying, you'll be blameless because you had this other person there to say that he didn't do that thing. You know what I'm saying? So whenever, and the ladies that around me now, they mess with me because they're like, because I take one home and then I take another one home, and then like I pass is three ladies that used to ride together. So two of them stay, four of them. One of them stay on the left side of the project. The other two stay in the middle, and then there's one stay on the right side. So what I do, I drop the one on the left side off first, and then I drive past the people in the middle and go drop the one to the right off second, and then I drop the last two ladies off. And they ask like, why do you? I noticed you do that. Why do you always do that? I said that way I'm not on the bus by myself with no lady by myself. It's always at least 2 or 3 adults on a bus. And if it's sometime when it's just maybe one, like if I go and I've had time where only one person came, I take one of my kids with me. I take, one of my adult kids with me. I take somebody else with me to be on that bus so that I can't be blamed for anything. Because again, if you get a devil, and that was my preacher, he said, if you get a devil a way to tarnish your image or whatever, to destroy your work, he would take it. And he said, I've always did that, and it actually saved my butt. Because I had one time where a lady did say that I tried to hook up with her. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, lady, where did we talk alone? Where was we? No, she said we hooked up. I think she said we hooked up. I said, when have I ever been alone with you? You know what I'm saying? And the other people on the bus, now she didn't go and make a claim to the police, but she was telling other members of the group, yeah, he did this. And they like, girl, you lying. We're always there. When did he come and hang out with you individually other than when we was with you? You know what I'm saying? You was a lie. And they told her, and they told me man, she's lying on you and saying this. And if you saw her, she was lying. She looked horrible. You know what I'm saying? But it saved my butt, and I couldn't be blamed. That's why the folks didn't get no traction on fire, because I couldn't get blamed because I always had somebody there with me. So again, yes, I was innocent, but I was blameless because I never was with that lady by myself in a personal situation. You see what I'm saying? So it's important to live your life in a way. Try to live your life so you can be blameless, not just innocent. Now again, innocent is good. You ain't doing the stuff, but don't put yourself in a situation, you know what I'm saying, where you can be accused of stuff. If you don't want to be accused of being a criminal, then guess what? Don't hang out with criminals. That's why I have to limit who's in my world. I have to limit who I spend my time with. You know what I'm saying? I don't hang out with people that do certain activities. There's people I love that do certain things, and I don't hang out with them because they do those certain things, because I don't want to be grouped in with them. I don't want nobody accusing me of doing the same thing that they doing. You know what I'm saying? So again, if you don't want to be accused of being a criminal, then don't hang out with criminals. Don't spend time with criminals. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to accuse of being a whore, or blamed for being a whore, then don't hang out with whores. If y'all know I've said it several times, birds of a feather flock together. So if they see you with this person, they know this person is out here in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Then they're going to assume that you out here in these streets, whether you're a man or female. If you hang out with a guy that is known for being a player or hooking up with a lot of women, then they're going to assume you're doing the same thing. If you're a girl that's known for being promiscuous, hooking up with a lot of guys, and you always with her, they're going to assume you're doing the same thing. So keep yourself out of those situations, and you will be blameless. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to be blamed for being a cheater, then don't hang around people that cheat. Your girl know that one friend that you have and know he's always cheating. You know what I'm saying? Or vice versa, that guy know that one girl that you have that she's ruining all her relationship by cheating. So if you going out with that girl or that guy, then you putting yourself in a position to be blamed for cheating as well. Because even though you might be innocent, you're not blameless. So you know what I'm saying? You got to live in a way to not be blameless. I told y'all And Daniel was going to come back up again. I told you they're going to come back up again. There was a situation. We go back to what I was talking about earlier about Daniel. When they tried to accuse him, they was trying to find something on him. That's why they ended up with the prayer. Because like I said, they tried to find, if you read the actual text, they was upset because he was getting all these accolades. He was coming to get promoted. And you know what I'm saying? He was basically a slave. So they was getting upset. So they're like, well, let's find something on him. Let's find something against him that we can accuse him of so he can get in trouble. And it says when they looked at his life and the way he lived his life, he lived a blameless life. And then he said the way he lived, they couldn't find anything because he was blameless in all that he did. You see what I'm saying? He said he was blameless in all that he did. And because he was blameless in all that he did, the only thing they can come up with was getting him because of him going to his altar, like we talked about earlier. You see what I'm saying? But the word itself said he lived blameless. And we know he was blameless because when they threw him in the line of dead, nothing happened. And even when the king called, said, did the Lord your God, who you pray to all the time, continually, did he protect you? And what Daniel said? Yes, my Lord found me blameless. He found me, I think he said blameless or spotless. You know, you go read it for yourself. But he said he found me there was no iniquity in me. Why? Because Daniel lived blameless. So see, if you're not blameless, you know what I'm saying? Lucifer can take whatever little spot you got, whatever little flaw you got, whatever, and he can blow it up and make it into something big and destroy all that you have. You know what I'm saying? He can destroy all that you have over something. And it don't, like I said, it don't even have to be real. It don't have to be real. It's just got to be, if you put yourself in a situation where you got just enough teeth where you can get some traction, that's all it takes for it to destroy. It's a lot of celebrities that we've seen. Again, we've seen that whose lives have been destroyed, whose careers have been destroyed. There's a lot of preachers whose lives have been destroyed, whose careers have been destroyed because of an accusation. And then it was found out later that they didn't even do the thing. But the thing was, they weren't blameless. And because they weren't blameless, because they had just enough, because of something this preacher did or this person did, a celebrity did, because they had just enough to where it can look like it gave the appearance that, hey, they might have did this thing. That was all it takes. You know what I'm saying? That was all it took to destroy them. So again, if you live blameless, then the devil can't come at you. So if you live blameless, you live a blameless life to where they can't even bring up an accusation against you, then guess what? You'll be able to have the faith to get the victory. You see what I'm saying? Because what did the devil call the accuser of the brethren? I think that was yep, there you go. Chris just put it up there. Maybe that's what he called the accuser of the brethren. So if you even put yourself in a situation where you can be accused, then guess what? You're not blameless. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I'm here preaching y'all. Everybody see I'm here preaching y'all. So if somebody getting shot, you know what I'm saying, Memphis right now, I can't be blamed for that. I'm blameless in that. Because y'all know I'm right here running my mouth to y'all. I'm right here getting this word. You see what I'm saying? Be blameless. Don't put yourself in a situation. And you know if you put yourself in a situation where you can be blamed from stuff or not. You know what I'm saying? That's why every time that girl texts you, you got to delete it. That's why every time that dude texts you, you got to delete it. You see what I'm saying? Now, you might not be messing with them. You might be innocent, but you ain't blameless because you're letting them text you and then you're deleting it. You see what I'm saying? So live your life in a way where you can be blameless, and if the devil can't accuse you, he can't get to you, he can't destroy your work. And if you live in a blameless life, then 9 times out of 10, you live in a way that the Lord will have you to live. And you will have enough faith to be able to get the victory over any little thing that pops up in your life. So number 12, live your life in a way. Hold on, I missed how I wrote it down. I see it right here, but how I wrote it down. So point number 12, live to be blameless, not just innocent. You know, again, being innocent is great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying let's go do some stuff because you're not blamed anyway. Being innocent is great, but don't put yourself in a situation where you can even be blamed or accused, or it looks like you're doing a certain kind of thing. You know, so be blameless. You know what I'm saying? Be blameless. I know, like with my friends' girlfriends, like unless we get really close or they get married or something, or we have like a close relationship with the family as a whole, like most of my guys, I don't even remember their girlfriend's name. I don't. And I do it on purpose because I don't want them to say, man, you mess with my girl. Like I can literally say, man, who is your girl? I don't even know your girl's name. How can I mess with her? You know what I'm saying? How can I mess with her? I do that on purpose because I don't want them. I can literally say, like, I can be blameless in that. Like, man, I can say, not only did I mess with your girl, I don't even know your girl's name. Now, of course, if they end up getting married and we have a close relationship, I get to know her later down the road, that's one thing. But, you know what I'm saying? But in the beginning stages, I don't even want you to think that I had to make any kind of accusation against your girl, because I don't even know her name. You know what I'm saying? I put myself in a situation where I can be blameless. And we got to learn how to do that. Learn, like I said, yeah, being innocent is good, but be blameless. Be blamed. You know what I'm saying? If you get pulled over and you got a six-pack in your car, you might not have drunk it, but you're not blameless. You're not blameless. You might be innocent. You might have drunk in it, and you might have just picked it up from the store and on the way. But the cop see it, he can blame you for drunk driving. And of course, especially if you want to take a breathalyzer, that's cool. But if you don't want to take a breathalyzer because you just feel like you're being harassed, then guess what? You still got to go to court and do all this and prove your innocence. Why? Because even though you was innocent, you're not blameless. So live life to be blameless, not just innocent. And if you can do that, then you will have the faith to get the victory. All right, so that was number 12. I'm going to finish. I know we're going to probably go a little over time, but we're going to go and finish this up tonight. I don't want to have no less than one more point, but I try to go quick with it. All right, so number 12, again, live life to be blameless and not just innocent. And that stopped right here where he says, Jonathan and Saul were chosen as the guilty ones and the people were declared innocent. Again, they was innocent, but, they wasn't blameless because they were around hunting. So in verse number 42 said, then Saul said, now choose between me and Jonathan was shown to be the guilty one. So the Jonathan was shown to be a guilty one. Of course, this is all they doing the little thing they do to talk to God. So they getting this a reference back to number 9, seek God's wisdom in all your actions. So he was trying to find out who was the one that was guilty, and it turns out it was his son. So in number 43 said, now tell me what you've done or have done, Saul demanded of Jonathan. He said, I tasted a little honey, Jonathan admitted. It was only a little bit on the end of a stick. Does that deserve death? Yes, Jonathan, Saul said, you must die. May God strike me dead if you are not executed for this. So we see 3 different times where this man just made these stupid oaths. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to actually be my point. So verse number 45 said, but the people broke in and said to Saul, should Jonathan, who saved Israel today, die? Far from it. As surely as the Lord lives, not one hair on his head will be touched, for he has been used of God to do a mighty miracle today. So the people rescued Jonathan, and he was not put to death. And then it said, then Saul called back the army from chasing the Philistines, and the Philistines returned home. So that finishes up the section, and that brings us to my last point. Number 13. If you want to be able to have that, continue to have that close walk with God, you want to continue to have that faith with God in your life, you want to be able to have that faith to get the victory, then number 13, make sure you do this. Don't make foolish oaths to the Lord. We see this, there was 3 times. First, he said, man, something's wrong. Whoever did it gonna die, even if it's my son. You know what I'm saying? And then he just said there, surely as Lord live, you know what I'm saying? You gotta die. You know what I'm saying? He made this foolish oath. He made the oath saying nobody can eat until, you know what I'm saying, until we get this victory. Man, you fight, you need your energy. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, when the days when I fast, and then sometimes my workout days follow my fast day, those are rough days, bro. And I can always tell in my workout, because my workouts are horrible, because I really don't have the energy. I push myself through it, but I really don't have the energy to do it because I didn't have no food, no fuel for the feed that fire that I'm burning because I'm doing this workout. You know what I'm saying? So we see here what this dude, he got to feel himself a little bit, and he made this stupid oath. And we do that a lot of time. We do the same thing. We make these foolish oaths to the Lord, and we don't realize we're hurting ourselves. Because you remember what Jonathan said. He said, a command like that only hurts us. See how much better I feel now that I've eaten this little bit of honey? If the men had been allowed to eat freely from the food they found among our enemies, think how much many more we could have killed. That's foolish. And we got to understand when we make these oaths to the Lord, that's foolish. Don't make these foolish oaths. I got caught up in that, and I'm probably going to have to answer for that for someday, because there's oath I made just know, the Lord touched my heart, I'm going to do this, and then I end up not doing it. Because what you got to understand is everything you say, you're going to be held accountable for every word that you say. Everything that comes out of your mouth, someday you're going to be judged on that. You know what I'm saying? Everything you say, everything that comes out of your mouth is something that you're going to have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? And this is something that you're going to have to deal with someday. So if you made some promise, some brash promise to God because you was in a certain situation, and then you didn't come through on that promise, then guess what? The Lord going to ask you for that one day. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get punished for it or whatnot, but you know what I'm saying? You're going to have to answer for that someday. You know, and that's something I deal with all the time in the ministry. Man, I deal with it all the time. I can't tell you how many people that I come across that's always making some kind of brash promises, but they don't keep them. You know what I'm saying? I come across it all day, always making me some promise. You know what I'm saying? If I had $1 for every single time that somebody promised me they were going to come to church, or they were going to join the ministry, or they were going to call me later and we're going to go to God. If I had $1 for every time somebody promised me that, I'm telling you, I wouldn't be searching for another job right now, because I would have enough money in my bank account. I'd be rich. You know what I'm saying? Because people do it all the time, because nobody really have character anymore. They don't have the character to be a man of their word or a woman of their word and do what they say they're going to do. You know what I'm saying? They make these brash promises that, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and then they don't go through with them. And see, we do that with God. We don't understand that's gonna put us in a bad situation. That's why John says that, man, he put us in a bad situation by making that kind of oath like that. He said, an oath like that only hurts us, and that's what happened. An oath like that only hurts you when you make a brash promise to God. You know what I'm saying? And then you don't come through. You know what I'm saying? Now, every once in a while, I do come across people that'll make a promise, you know what I'm saying, and they stick to their word. You know what I'm saying? It's rare. But it happens. You know, I know like Miss Alicia is watching tonight, and I met her probably, it's been over a year or so now, I'm sure of it, a year and a half ago, out knocking on doors, you know, and she said, you know what, I'm looking for a church, and I don't like going to church, kind of, you know, being around people. She said, but this would be perfect for me. She said, I'll look you up. And I'm like, yeah, sure. You know, sure. Not nothing, because I mean, me and her have a great conversation, so not nothing against her. I didn't know her at the time. So I'm like, yeah, sure, because I hear it all the time. But Lord behold, that very next Monday, the next time I had a lesson, she was on there, and she hasn't missed one since. I mean, it's been rare, unless something going on with Mr. Leo, her grandson, she's there. And even though sometimes when something's going on with him, she's like, hey, you know, Leo's not having a good day, but I'm you know, I'm gonna listen later, or I try to listen in while I'm taking care of him. You know what I'm saying? But she's been here, so it happens. It's a lady I met in Fairview. That was down in Dixie. It's a lady I met in Fairview a little while ago, named Miss Tiff. She comes in from time to time and watches the videos. And same thing, I was, you know, her and her family sitting around. I came in harassing them, talking about Jesus, and she, you know, she was saved, but she's like, you know, I do want to hear some preaching. I do want to build my relationship. She said, you know, I look into it. And I was like, all right, sure. Like the same way, again, didn't know her. And, but I hear it so much that I get kind of like, okay, yeah, no, sure. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? She ended up sending me a friend request, and she's watched several of them. She's even, you know, messaging me like, man, thank you so much for the lesson you do. They really help. You know, there was again, same thing, guy in Paris, same situation. He said, oh man, I'll look you up, and he ended up sending me a friend request. So I was like, dang, and that was a lady in Huntington, same situation. He ended up sending me a friend request. And I actually had it happen this weekend. I was out soul winning, and came across this wonderful young lady, and had the coolest name ever. Her name is Amethyst. And if you know your Bible, you know that's one of the stones that the Lord, represent one of the tribes of Israel, that the Lord used to represent the tribe of Israel. So I thought that was pretty neat, you know, and we got to talking, and by God's grace, I was able to lead her to the Lord, and, you know, and she was really young, and I know young people don't really get on Facebook. I said, oh, well, I preach on Facebook. I know you young people don't really use it. She said, but I actually got a Facebook profile. She said, I seen your friend request. I'm like, oh yeah, sure. But guess what? She actually sent the friend request. And I don't know if she's watching this video or not, but she said she did want to build a relationship with the Lord, and she said she's going to try to start watching the videos. And whether she's watching it or not, I can't see nobody's profile, so I don't know who's all in here right now. So she could be here, she could be not, but she did send that friend request, and I hope she will watch the videos. You know what I'm saying? So again, every once in a while, people say they're going to do something, they do it. But again, it's a few and far between. You know what I'm saying? It's very few that actually do what they say they're going to do. They make a promise that they're going to do something. Oh, I promise you I'm going to come to the ministry. I promise you, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to come. Like every Monday, like tomorrow we have the Lost Sheep Ministry. So, and we only have it every other week. So what I do, since we only have it every other week, what I do the Monday before the ministry, I send out a text. I send out a text, and I just say, hey, all, you know what I'm saying, tomorrow we're going to be having a meeting, blah, 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 at River Lake Baptist Church. It's 6:30. You know, if you're interested, let me know. Send me a text. And if you need a ride, let me know. I'll come pick you up, blah, blah, blah. I do it every Monday. I got over 200 people that over the course of time, because I've been doing this about, like I said, so in about 8 years now. I think this is going to be the 9th year for the Lost Sheep Ministry meeting in person. So it's been like 8, 9 years. So over the last, 9 years, I've accumulated about 200 phone numbers of people that when I talk to them, they maybe just, oh yeah, we're going to come. Just, send me the text and we're going to come to it. You know what I'm saying? So I got over 200 that I sent out, 200 texts that I sent out, every Monday. And out of the 200 I sent out, I got the same 3-4 people that respond every single time. You know what I'm saying? Out of 200. So like I said, yes, I got 3 or 4 that do respond, but that's 2, 3 or 4 out of 200. So that's less than, that's what, a percent and a half, 1.5% of people that actually respond that said they was. None of them has ever showed up, and actually came to a lesson. You know what I'm saying? And see, that's why I guess it's not me. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't make foolish oaths. And you know what I'm saying? And like I said, especially when it comes to God or the things of God. If I'm going to do something, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to tell you I'm going to do it. If I'm not going to do it, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? If somebody's showing me something or saying you should try this or try that, if I say I'm going to try it, then I'm going to try it. Like if I don't, it's just because I forgot. You know what I'm saying? But I have every intention on doing it. But a lot of times we make these foolish oaths and we don't have any intentions on doing it at all. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say, you get stuck in a situation like this with Psalm when you make a foolish oath. You know what I'm saying? When you're doing something you never really intended on doing in the first place. And that's why I say you should make these foolish oaths. You should make them. You know what I'm saying? How many times, and we all done it. You know, like I said, I've done it. How many times you've been in some kind of bad situation or some situation that looked dire or you got desperate and what you go, oh Lord, if you get me out of this situation, I'm going to stop doing this. How many times you done got drunk and had that hangover hit you too hard? Oh Lord, I promise you get this sickness, take this sickness away from me, I promise I'll never drink again. And then next Saturday, right back out getting lit. You know what I'm saying? How many times, I've seen so many times people have been in bad situations and they made rash promises to God. Lord, I promise if you get me out of this situation, I'm going to go to church all the time. Or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. And they say that, and the Lord get them out of this situation, and they don't do what they say they're going to do. You know what I'm saying? They don't do what they say they're going to do. You know what I'm saying? It's bad because Jesus even talked about it. You know what I'm saying? Jesus even said, he said, it's better not to make an oath at all or take a vow at all. Because he was talking about vows. And he said it's better not to take a vow at all. You know what I'm saying? He said, if you have the character, you know what I'm saying? Just be a man or woman of your word and have the character that if there's something that you need to do, say you're going to do it and do it. Have the character to do what you said you're going to do and have the character not do what you say you weren't going to do. He said, matter of fact, he said, if you got to strengthen it with an oath, then that means it's something wrong there from the get-go. Have the sermon. Somebody come to you and just say, hey, man, let me borrow $100 and I'll get it back to you. You know what I'm saying? If they get say, man, let me have $100, man, I promise you I'll get it back to you. I put it on my mama, I'll get it back to you. Then they let you know right there. That should be a red flag. That should let you know, no, I'm not trusting this guy. Why he had to put that extra little stank on it? You know what I'm saying? Because he's not even convinced that he's going to be able to do this thing that he's asking me to let him do. You see what I'm saying? So you have to be careful. And that what Jesus talked about. He said it's best for you. He said, because he was teaching about vows. And he said it's best that you just not make a vow at all. He said because if you make a vow and then you don't hold on to it, don't go through with it, then it makes you guilty. Because again, the Lord is going to hold us accountable for that. And like I said, I wish I would have knew that before I made a couple of vows that I know I'm going to have to answer for. I'm like, man, I'm going to have to answer for that one day. You know what I'm saying? But I did my best, but I'm going to have to answer for it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say, you're going to be accountable for every word that comes out of your mouth. If you make these rash promises to God, oh Lord, I promise I'm going to give my life to you, I'm going to do this, then you better be willing and prepared to do whatever that thing is once God give you whatever that blessing is, because you're going to be held accountable. It talks about that over to in Ecclesiastes chapter 5. I'm going to read that real quick. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 through 6. It says, as you enter the house of God, keep your ears open and your mouth shut. That's a good one. Do not be a fool who doesn't realize that mindless offerings to God are evil. And don't make rash promises to God, for he is in heaven and you are only here on earth. So let your words be few. Just as being too busy gives you nightmares, being a fool makes you a blabbermouth. So when you make a promise to God, don't delay in following through, for God takes no pleasure in fools. Keep all the promises you make to him. It is better to say nothing than to promise something that you don't follow through on. In such cases, your mouth is making you sin. And don't defend yourself by telling the temple messenger that the promise you made was a mistake. That would make God angry, and he might wipe out everything that you have achieved. See what I'm saying? So Solomon was talking about during Ecclesiastes, and then Jesus reiterated that when he came and preached. He was saying, just don't say nothing. Like I said, be a man of your word. If you gonna make their promises, then you need to make sure that if you make a promise, you make that oath, then you make that foolish oath, then you make sure that you're ready and you're capable of going through with it. Because if you make that promise, you don't go through with it, then guess what? It can turn out bad for you. We look at Pharaoh. Pharaoh had a situation we did there. You remember when Moses was hitting him with the plagues? Moses come in, he's like, oh, I promise, man, you just, take the frogs away, take the flies away, and I promise I promise I let them go. And then as soon as the frogs was gone or the flies was gone or whatever it is that they were being plagued with, as soon as they were gone, what happened? He hardened his heart. And you know the plagues that just kept getting worse and worse and worse because he kept on making these promises that he really had no intention on backing up. He really had no intention on doing. So you got to be careful when you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you can make a promise for good, you know what I'm saying, and it still turn out bad for you. Make a vow for good. And I want to say it's so much better just not to make the vow. To say, Lord, I need you to help me with this, and man, I'm gonna do my best to pay you back somehow. But don't make no vow. There was a situation where this guy, and it breaks my heart. If you go over to Judges, one of the judges, his name was Jephthah, and he made this vow one day because it was, when Israel was under oppression all the time. So he made this vow to the Lord. He's like, Lord, if you make me as leader, and I ain't gonna go to the whole story for lack of time, but you go read it yourself. But he basically made this vow and said, Lord, if you help me get this victory, whenever I come back home, the first thing that comes out of my house, I'm gonna sacrifice it to you. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, no matter what it is, I'm gonna sacrifice it to you. So he goes off and he gets his victory, and then he come back home, and guess what's the first thing that come out of his house? His only child, his daughter. That's who comes out. She comes out celebrating because dad is home. You know what I'm saying? Now, I think about that, like, what was he expecting to come out? Like, was he expecting the dog to run out? Like, what was he expecting? He said the first thing that comes out the house, what was he expecting to come out other than his family? Which, that don't make sense to me. I don't know. That's one of those weird ones. You know what I'm saying? But the first thing that came out was his daughter. And he ended up having to sacrifice his daughter. Now, it don't say whether he killed her or not. I don't know if she had to be, because I know it said that after that happened, she was able to go, he allowed her to go on go out basically for some months and mourn her virginity. So I don't know if it necessarily means that he killed her, because God wouldn't like, human sacrifice. God is absolutely against that. We might assume because he said it was going to be a sacrifice that would happen, but it could be that she had to become a nun, like she couldn't get married or something like that. He had to dedicate her to the temple, and she was no longer his. They don't really give specifics, but it does say that he had to sacrifice whatever came out, and the first thing that came out was his daughter. You know what I'm saying? So even though he had good intentions, he made a foolish vow. And when he made that foolish vow, he had to pay for the consequences of that vow. And his daughter came out. You see what I'm saying? It turned out bad for him. So, you know what I'm saying? So like I said, it's better not to make promises. Back in my day when I was trying to kick the weed habit, I can't tell you how many times I promised God, man, Lord, I'm never going to smoke again. You just do this, but I'm never going to smoke again. And I went, a couple of times, I went like a couple of years, but then something happened and I ended up smoking again. So that's one of the ones that's like, I know I'm going to have to answer to God about that. But I would say I made it, hopefully it's the final time about 8 years ago. It's been 8 years ago since I smoked, and I'm hoping I can stick with it. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I say like, unless it's a situation where I can use it for medicinal purposes, it's strictly like cancer or some stuff. Like I got some kind of dire situation where I'm about to eat, something that I can actually die. The weed can help, then I would use that instead of using all these chemicals and pills and stuff. But other than that, for recreational purposes, I never do it again. Other than, like I said, a strict medical situation where it's like, it's been proven like, hey, if I take this, it can be used, then I will. But just for recreational purposes, I promise God I never do it again. And so far it's been 8 years. But before the 8 years, like I said, I had 2-3 years. I go a year or so, or a few months, and get away from it. Then I go back to it. So, and I would make promises. Sometimes a couple times I was at the altar and made the promise and still went back to it. So I know at some point I'm gonna have to answer for that. I'm gonna have to answer. I don't know if it's gonna be a bad thing or not, because I did eventually get away from it. But you know what I'm saying? I just wish, honestly, like I said, I wish I never would have made that promise, that vow in the first place. And you see what I'm saying? And that's why I say I try not to make, I try not to make vows. Even if I say I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. If I say I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. If I say I'm not gonna do it, I'm not gonna do it. I don't tell people, we do that all the time. Somebody be like, hey man, you should do this. Oh yeah, check it out. Or, well, I come by and you have no intention. I don't do that. If I don't have no intention of coming by, I'm not gonna come by. I'm gonna tell you now, most likely I'm not gonna do that. I remember a couple of times I've been invited to churches. And so it ain't bad, always bad stuff. It's invited, hey, you should come check us out on Sunday morning. I'm like, you know what? I'm an usher in my church. I'm pretty faithful in my church. I probably won't. You know what I'm saying? And especially if it's in, different, church that I'm not familiar, people I'm not familiar with, I probably, it's a good church. Yeah, that's cool, but I probably won't. You know what I'm saying? Because if I say, oh yeah, I'll come by and check it out, then guess what? I got to go check it out because I try to be a man of my word. So again, watch your words. That's why I don't never make the vow to the Lord that I'm never check out a hot chick again. Because I try, but man, sometimes y'all make it hard on a brother. Be out there at Walmart with them tights and all that stuff on. So I'm a man too, so I don't make that because God mess around and hold me account for that and take my eyes or something. That's why I ain't made that promise to him. But now I do my best. If I know something up there, I try to look the other way. But sometimes I don't try too hard. Depends on how the situation is. But that's why I don't make that promise, because I don't want to make that promise to God. And then he's like, boy, you said you weren't going to do that. And look, boy, you was looking at it, boy, I'm taking my eyes. I don't want to put myself in that situation. And we shouldn't do that. That was you shouldn't make these foolish oaths. You shouldn't make these foolish promises, because that's what Saul made that promise. He actually put the army in a bad situation, because he put him in a situation because he made this foolish oath. He made it to God. He put him in a situation where he went to God the next day. God wouldn't reply to him. See, he made it a sin because he made that foolish oath. And he was almost, his son that actually was the one that the Lord used to get them the victory, he's about to kill him because of his foolish oath. So be careful when you do it. Yes, I know sometimes we get emotional. We get in these situations and we're like, oh Lord, if you just, give me the Lord, I'll do this, man. I'm telling you, don't do it. Now, don't do it. I wish I would have done it, because I know, like I said, I know some stuff I'm going to have to answer for. Don't do it. It's best to just be a man of your word. Lord, please get me out of this situation, and I'm going to do my best to live for you. You know what I'm saying? Don't be promised, I promise I'm going to give my life to you. I'm going to be a missionary to Russia or whatever, and then you don't be that missionary, because again, the Lord is going to hold you accountable for that thing. So again, just do what Jesus said. Don't even make a vow. Just say I'm going to do it or say I'm not going to do it. You talk to people, either you're going to tell them you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. Because if you make that vow and you make that foolish oath, then you're going to be held accountable for it. And just like we saw what happened with Saul made a foolish oath, and he made his people sin through his foolish oath. You know what I'm saying? I almost had to kill his son through his foolish oath. But you know what saved his son? His faith. See, and it goes back, and I'm going to finish with that, because it says, Saul was going to kill him because of his foolish oath. He was going to kill him. He said, but the people broke in and said to Saul, should Jonathan, who saved Israel today, die? For far from it. As surely as the Lord lives, no hair on his head would be touched. For as he has been used of God to do a mighty miracle today. So the people rescued Jonathan, and he was put to death. So it goes back in full circle, goes back to the point, the whole point of the lesson, the beginner's lesson, the faith to get the victory. Because of Jonathan's faith, because of the way he lived, because of the things he did, because of the decision he made, he was able to get that victory. And not only the victory of the Philistines, but the victory over death, and his life was saved because of his faith. So if you do these, I went through 12. I know it's been a few weeks. We went through 12 different points, 12 different things. But if you can follow along this lesson, follow this series, go back. If you haven't watched it, if this is on the first one you're watching and this touched your heart, go back and watch the other ones. You know what I'm saying? Go back and watch the other. Get all 13 of them. If you do all those 13, of course, if it was more Bible, I could have came up with more, or the Lord would have gave me more. But just based on what's here, the information is here, I came up with these 13. The Lord gave me these 13 to help you have enough faith. If you do these things, you do these action items, you will have faith to get the victory as well. And we saw here, and that's why you see this very last line is why I labeled this faith to get the victory, because Jonathan got the victory not only over the Philistines, but over his own dad and his foolish oath, because he had the faith to do so. And the action items he took is the action items that end up saving his life. So that being said, y'all, we finished it up. I went over a little bit over, just a few minutes over, not much over tonight, but we got to finish up. And now we can start a new series. And I try not to drag the other series on so long and have 20 and 30 parts. But the reason why I do it like that, again, because I want to make sure y'all understand. I want to spend the time breaking these things down to you and make sure you understand. I don't want to just give a good point and it sound good and then just move on. I want you to understand what you need to do, give you the action items, and let you know the way you need to think, the things you need to do, so you can get these blessings, man. Get this grace, get this mercy in your life, get this faith, so you can get the victory. Because if you get that faith, you build that faith, and I'm telling you, you won't have to worry about all these things that's going to pop up, because you're going to have problems. As long as we're in this world, we're going to have problems, but you can have the faith to get the victory over those problems by following these action items that I've shared with y'all over these last few weeks. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and make my ending announcement and get out of here, because I'm already over my time. Of course, as always, if there's anything in particular I haven't already covered, any chapters I haven't started, in a certain story you want me to cover that I haven't already, you want to see my insights on it, inbox me and let me know. and I'll try to work into my lesson plan. Right now, Lord willing, next Monday, like I said, we're going to start a new series. We're going to look at obedience for a little bit. And I know I've taught on obedience before, but this story here, this next story, I think I might have already taught this lesson. I'm going to have to go back through all my notepads or whatever. I might have already taught this chapter about obedience. But either way it go, that's what we're going to go with, because I'm trying to do everything in chronological order. So that's what we're going to go through the next few weeks. We're going to go over and look over obedience and the importance of being obedient. I don't know exactly what the title going to be, but it's going to be something dealing with the obedience, unless, of course, you guys reach out to me and let me know and ask me to go in a different direction. Keep sharing the videos, telling people about the videos. I appreciate everybody doing so. And I'm hoping y'all are doing it not just because y'all like me and y'all want me to go viral. I'm hoping y'all are doing it because it's helping you and you want it to help others. And that's the whole point of this ministry. That's why I take my time. That's why I'm not trying to be all kind of steady and all that. I'm just trying to give you what you need to know so you can have a close relationship with the Lord. So keep sharing the videos, tagging people in the videos, telling people about the videos. I appreciate them, so this stuff can get out there and we can help other people also have the faith to get the victory as well. And of course, you're watching this and you're not saved. You're not 100% sure that if you go through the door called death, you get to see Jesus on the other side. Please, please, please reach out to me and let me know, and I will set up some time to go over the gospel with you and help you make the decision. If you need any kind of spiritual counseling, got any kind of questions, biblical questions, things of that nature, please reach out to me and let me know. And again, I will set up some time with you so we can go over the counseling and I can share whatever wisdom the Lord has given me. I can share it with you. And as always, if you want to catch, like I said, with these long series that we be having, if you want to, this is the first time you're watching one, you're like, you know what, that was pretty good. I want to see some other ones. Go back. You can either scroll down my YouTube or my Facebook page, which you're going to have to scroll through everything I've ever been tagged in. And I get tagged a lot of stuff, so it takes a lot. Or the easiest way to do it is just go to my YouTube page, youtube.com, God's Servant / Lost Sheep Ministries. Type it in just like that. You got to type it in like that to find me, because I don't have a lot of subscribers. There's no people, folks don't be wanting to hear that truth. But type it in just like that, and all my stuff is there. And usually when I do, like I did this tonight, by Sunday, it'll be on my YouTube page. So I usually do it on Monday night, and then Sunday night is when I do my budget. So right before I sit down and do my budget, that's when I usually upload the video. So all of my videos are on there. All the ones I've done so far is on my YouTube page. It's also still on my Facebook. I never deleted them on Facebook as well. So whatever way or whatever means you need to get to those videos, to get the help so you can get the faith, to get the victory, I'm all for it. So that being said, I thank y'all for joining me tonight. I'm going to go ahead and pray, and we're going to end this, right? Dear Lord and Father, thank you so much for watching over us. Thank you for this series. Thank you for letting me get it finished. I know it took me a couple of extra minutes to get on go overnight to go and get it finished, but I did want to go ahead and get it finished so we can get to our next chapter. And it's an important. The next lesson in the next chapter is important. It's obedience. And it's something I know I've taught on it several times before, Lord, but now we get to focus on it for get a series on it. So I pray that you will touch everybody's heart, give them the want to be back, so they can understand the importance and the rewards of being obedient to your word, Lord. And I pray this series help them. I pray that now that we finish this series up, now that they have all the action items that we saw from the life of Jonathan and the things that he did, I pray now that they would come under conviction and see some of these action items they can do in their lives, and start taking these action items into account and start doing these things so they can get the victory over the problems in their lives, and they can have a closer relationship with you as well. I pray you continue to be with this ministry, continue to help it grow, prosper, reach out the community, change the lives of others, and capture lost souls of men. I pray you continue to give me and my family the wisdom we need to guide this ministry in the right direction, Lord. Be able to have the influence in the lives of others to guide them closer to you, and definitely be with me as I have to make this decision on which way my life and career is going to go, because it's going to affect the ministry as well. So we definitely calling out to you for your wisdom and guidance, and I want to be exactly where you want me to be so I can do the most amount of work for you, Lord, and in your kingdom. Watch over all my people, Lord. Continue to keep your hand upon them. Continue to give your power, love, and wisdom of improv may rise to keep them from doing the work you have for them to do, and just continue to be with me, my family, this ministry, and continue to use us in a mighty way to honor and glorify your name, actively build your kingdom, and turn the hearts of this world back to you. Keep your hand upon all those that are sick and shut in. You are Jehovah Rapha. The top of your head can heal them, and just give them strength and encouragement to deal with whatever they're going through. We ask you to watch over all our service members, all those in the military, law enforcement, rescue service, and medical service. All those put their lives on the lives at risk to protect and save the lives of others, Lord. Keep them safe as they go about the day. And we ask you just watch over this world as a whole. We pray for the day where you will touch our hearts, Lord. Give us the want to turn back to you as the world as a whole, so we may humble ourselves, pray, seek your face, and turn from our wicked ways, so you may hear from heaven, forgive our sins, and heal our lands. Continue to watch over us, continue to bless us and guide us. and continue to let your spirit work through us so we continue to get everything done we need to get done and get where we need to be according to your will and grace for our lives today. Be with all those that we've shared your gospel with that have made that decision to trust you, Lord. And I pray you touch their heart and give them spirit to continue to build that relationship and get everything done they need to get done according to your will for their lives, and which is the reason why you saved them, Lord. Thank you for this time tonight. Pray this time you will bless this time. Your word will not return in vain. And pray you continue to use this ministry to do our part to honor and glorify your name and accurately build your kingdom. We love you and thank you for all you've done. And we say this prayer in your wonderful son, Jesus' name. Amen. All right, man. Thank y'all for joining me tonight again. My little bubbles wasn't working, so I don't know who was all here. I don't know who wasn't. But for everybody that did join, I really appreciate it. And again, if you was waiting on me, I apologize. I was about 5 minutes late. I had to run an errand right before the lesson, and I got back a couple of minutes late. So I do apologize about that. But I do hope that this message helped y'all. I pray that the Lord touched your heart. And again, that you will watch. If you didn't watch all the series, go back and watch it, because I think I gave some pretty good information, some pretty good wisdom on what you can do to have the faith to get the victory in your life. So with that being said, I love you all, my Lost Sheep people. We will be meeting tomorrow at 6:30. So if y'all need a ride, y'all better let me know. But until next time, I love you all. Continue to pray for me. I continue to pray for you. And remember to always watch your back and pray. So until next time, I see you guys. Peace.